Hello, everyone. Pastor Randall here. Welcome to our Bible study here at Loudon United Methodist as we look at part 3 of our walk through the book of Judges. We're going to look at Ehud, who has a very big story and one of my favorites, and then also Shamgar, who follows him. It seems like we get this thing where you get a judge, and like our first judge, I told you all about how they have these big personalities, and it's really funny, and nothing happened. And you're like, the preacher lied. Well, I think Ehud pays off. And then our next video on Deborah will pay off. But we get these like in between judges, and they just kind of do their job. You know, you always get the flashy folks. Alrighty. So Ehud. So what we have, we got delivered. They got delivered by Othniel, son of Kenaz, and everything's fine for 40 years. But then guess what? They fall right back. It takes a generation or so. They've forgotten that God has delivered them. They go back. At this point, King Elgon of Moab gets the Amorites and the Amalekites to help him, and he oppresses the people. So the people, what do they do? Now that they're oppressed, they cry out to the Lord. And the Lord raises up Ehud, son of Gera, a Benjaminite, a left-handed man. Okay, so the Old Testament and a little bit of the New perpetuates this, that dare I say, slander against us left-handed people. We are sinister. We are sneaky. Even through the Middle Ages. In fact, now by the time modern people came along, I was actually one of the first generations of American students that entered school left-handed, and they didn't try to switch me over to write with my right hand. I don't know, he must have won some case in court or something. But now by the modern era, it was just like, well, everybody needs to write the same, and left-handed people smear stuff, so just get over that. But in the Middle Ages, they would tie your hand down and make you write right-handed, because to write left-handed is to be underhanded. Now, one of the big reasons of that is, as much as, that's kind of like hearsay slander, a little bit of superstition. Why were you marked by the devil? Literally. 3rd, 4th century Christians thought left-handed people were marked by the devil. Sounds like a lot of different groups along the way, right? And the Bible perpetuates that. And so we hear this, our hero, Ehud, is a Benjaminite. And if you remember, going back to Deuteronomy, I know it's been a minute, but the Benjaminites are kind of like the rednecks of Israel. You know, they ran away from one fight and they didn't do other stuff. They got the worst land. In fact, there's not enough women in the land, so they have to they're allowed to, like 7 brides for 7 brothers style, kidnap women at this festival from the bordering peoples so they can keep their population up. So Ehud is sort of looked down upon by who he is, now looked down upon because, he's left-handed. But there's a bonus with us left-handed people. Not so much modern, because if you ever notice, modern police shows and modern crime, we pat down both sides of the body. But in the ancient world, the thing that made us left-handed people, and it took them thousands of years to figure out the counter of just patting both sides down, is we draw our swords from the other side. And so Ehud gets his plan. He takes a blade and makes it double-edged, edge on both sides. Most of the blades, dull edge, sharp edge. He made it so it cut on both sides. Strapped it to his right thigh. He brings the tribute to the Moabite king Elgon. And the guards pat him down. Literally, he hikes up that left leg, pulls his skirt up. I know. Again, it's Guy Ritchie, Quentin Tarantino time. They check him all out. They don't notice on the other side of his right leg, under his tunic, is the sword. So he's ushered into the room and left. Elgon will be there in a minute. Elgon is on the toilet. That's the level of humor we're at, people. I love it. Let's go for it. So he leaves the tribute. He goes around the bathroom. He kind of opens the curtain. Elgon's like, what the heck? And he's like, pulls that sword out and just says, die. Now, the writer does make a big deal, and I do not love body shaming at all, that Elgin is incredibly enormous. And so the knife not only kills Elgin, but Elgin's so big so that the knife gets lost in his stomach, but he dies. Ehud slips away. The stench of what happened whiffs into the guards, and the guards go, "Oh my goodness, that guy does not need to eat any more pork." Well, that's not an exact quote, but that's what they think. They literally think for a long time that he's just having an incredibly messy bowel movement. And then they finally get antsy and they go to check and they find the king is dead. At this point, Ehud has escaped. He has run to the countryside. He has gathered, at this point, it's not even an army. It's more of a mob to say, "I have killed King Elgin." And that, and he's kind of like, that fat, you know what? And I shouldn't have even said fat, but you know what I mean. He's rallying that is dead and his people don't deserve it. And next thing you know, so the mob meets the troops, and they drive them out of Israel. And all is well. And it says in verse 30, so Moab was subdued that day under the hand of Israel, and the land had rest 80 years. And then we get that after him came Shamgar, son of Anath, who killed 600 of the Philistines. This is the first time we hear about the Philistines, by the way. The sea people, they're invaders as well, with an ox goad. Also kind of Samson's coming up, right? He too delivered Israel. He doesn't get quite the same story, but he too delivered Israel. And that takes us through chapter 3. I hope you join me for our next video where we talk about Deborah. Well, we talk about chapters 4 and 5 with Deborah, Barak, Jael, and their adventure. Thanks for being with me, and God bless.